At the turn of the 20th century, the Philippines was between two regimes.
This was the time of the American insular government. The Americans posed the big challenge before all of us, which is, are we strong enough to stand as a nation?
At that time, the Filipinos were still trying to find the sense of who they really were out of the debris of colonialism. Into this milieu was born, almost at the same time, two artists who would influence in immeasurable ways the way the Filipinos looked at themselves. Even their names were similar. Carlos V. Francisco and Francisco V. Coching were born less than 5 years apart. Both showed artistic talent at a young age. While Carlos V. Francisco, better known as Botong, chose to create paintings and murals, Coching created comics.
And both of them represented the Filipino visually in not only in the fine arts but also in the popular forms.
Born in Angono, Rizal on November 4, 1914, Botong is known for his murals depicting Philippine history and culture.
Ang pinakamalaki ngayon nag-exist yung nasa City Hall of Manila. Yung 100 years of Philippine struggle. Yan yung nandoon yung portion ni Andres Bonifacio. No, yan yung isa sa pinakamalaking ginawa ng lolo.
In Botong's works, the Filipino, even when engaged in toil, projects an image of sinewy strength and dignity.
There was certainly this global awareness in Botong, and he was precisely using his ideas to come up with a Philippine iconography for his art.
It is said that Botong drew his images from life.
Botong was studying his environment and drawing out from this world images that he was then using as the basis of his artistic metaphors.
He painted his friends, his neighbors, and his beloved hometown and depicted their practices and rituals.
Ang makikita mo sa ginagawa niya is parang larawan ng Angono, no? Pati yung mga model siguro niya, no? Yung mga pinagkukunan niya ng ideas, yun yung mga kaibigan niya.
Angono and Botong are synonymous with each other.
So Botong embodies both, no? The native, meaning his birthplace and his hometown, Angono. But on the other hand, he's also able to transcend that being native to embody or represent something national.
Coching, who was born in Pasay on January 29, 1919, is known for his comics.
Ang comics ang isa sa mga nagbibigay ng most vivid representation ng kultura ng Pilipinas. Si Coching is one of the pioneers of Philippine comics.
More than just ephemeral narratives, however, Coching created folk characters that captured the hearts and minds of a generation of fans.
Ang comics kasi, once mabasa mo, you get involved in the story. Nagiging something na sinusubaybayan mo every week, every 2 weeks, at nagiging part sila ng buhay ng mga tao.
Well, people also always want to have a mirror to look on themselves, no? And to a large extent, Coching provided this mirror for Filipinos to look on themselves.
In 4 decades, Coching created 58 serialized works, 55 of which were made into films. Some not only became blockbusters, but even reaped awards.
Yung mga surviving artists today who was working sa mga comics nung araw, were going on about, si Coching, siya ang pinakamagaling na artist.
Slightly relaxed yung mga figures niya. Pero kung yung ba yung kay Coching, talagang sumasabog with the energy.
Well, we can say that Coching's striking, even dramatic characters were based on classes in Philippine society.
Many of these comics portrayed a particular type of hero that was unmistakably Filipino.
Pre-colonial indigenous characters, which were like Tarzan figures, for example, which were strong and stalwart men, like Hagibis.
Unfortunately, most of his works were not preserved.
For many years, wala kang mabibiling material or information about the history of Philippine comics. If you want to learn about sino ba yung mga naging artist natin, wala eh. Kasi there was no serious effort to preserve or archive yung mga comics natin before.
During Botong and Coching's heyday, artists did not discriminate between painting and illustration.
All forms of art became reflective of the need to forge a nation. It became our burden to show that we have a culture, we have a bedrock, as it were, of heritage that we can display by way of our creative imagination.
Botong created the comic Siete Infantes de Lara and was the costume designer and production manager of several movies, including the critically acclaimed Genghis Khan.
One notes that though they are associated with particular art forms, say Botong with painting, Coching with illustration, nonetheless, they were versatile artists.
It was only in the 1970s, when art collections became in vogue, that the distinctions between the high art of painting and the low art of popular illustration were emphasized.
Yung distinctions neto between painting and illustration is part of yung larger distinction between art and craft, or between fine art and applied art.